My talk is on the backdrop to the Gettysburg Address, a little bit about the battle.
There you go.
Can you hear me good? At the end of May in 1863, Confederate General Robert E. Lee decides in order to win the war for the South, he had to capture Washington, D.C. His first objective was to capture the railroad hub at Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Both armies met, the South and the North, at Gettysburg. I want you to pay attention to these dates. The battle was fought on July 1st through July 3rd, right at our country's birthday, beginning the bloodiest battle in all the Americas, North, Central, and South. The third bloodiest battle in American history, the other two being in Europe. In the fighting at the Peach Orchard on the second day, two ex-U.S. congressmen, one from the South who was for slavery, General Barksdale, and the Northern General, Dan Sickle from New York, who was against slavery, met at a small part of the battlefield called the Peach Orchard. General Barksdale was killed in the battle, and Dan Sickle lost his leg. A little north of there, and a little bit later, the 1st Minnesota Regiment lost over 90% of their men in 20 minutes. They were later called the Saviors of the Union. After the battle on July 4th, 2,500 Gettysburg civilians had to take care of over 50,000 casualties and one civilian. They had to bury the dead. They also tore all the doors off the buildings to put the wounded on. They had to burn thousands of dead horses and one dog. That fall, they changed the local cemetery into a national cemetery. Now, the cemetery, there was actual fighting out on the first day where the Confederates overran the Federal Army and captured the cemetery on the first day. When the citizens got a keynote speaker and other plans, and they had it all finalized, and then they realized they forgot to invite the president. The keynote speaker spoke for 2 to 3 hours, and no one remembers who he was and what he said. President Lincoln's speech was so short that the cameraman barely got a picture of President Lincoln. I want to say my family is from 30 miles from Gettysburg, and I've been there probably close to 10 times. In fact, my great-great-grandmother saw the Confederate cavalry come into Mount Joy, Pennsylvania, right before the battle. I would recommend going there. You can't really walk it because they're fighting all around the city, and in the city it's probably impossible to walk. But they give you a map if you want to drive it yourself. But we were there last fall, and we took the train tour, which they just opened. We were one of the first 1,000 people to take the tour and got a badge for that. And they have bus tours, and they do have walking tours for small sections of the battle. If you want to get a idea, in their the guides are very well. One more thing I was going to say was General Sickle, who lost his leg, and General Longstreet, who was probably second in command of the Confederate Army, helped organize that into a national park. And General Sickle is probably the one person in American history that is most controversial. And I'm not going into that unless you want to ask me afterward. But Mary Beth is going to talk about the Tate family, because that was what we were going to originally do. So,
Well, this should make you laugh, but it doesn't have anything to do with Gettysburg either. So anyway, there is a family. They are active people, do a lot of work around here. Some good, some bad. You may recognize some of them. They are the Tate family. There is old man Dick Tate, who runs everything, while Uncle Rotate tries to change everything. Their sister Agitate stirs up plenty of trouble with the help of her husband Irritate. Whenever new projects are suggested, Hesitate and his wife Vegetate want to wait until next year. Then there is Aunt Imitate, who wants us to be like all the others. Devastate provides the voice of doom, while Potentate wants to be a big shot. But not all members of the Tate family are bad. Brother Facilitate is quite helpful in most matters, and a delightful, happy member of the clan is Felicitate. Cousins Cogitate and Meditate always think things over and lend a helpful, steady hand. And of course, there is the black sheep of the family, Amputate, who has cut himself off completely from us. Every area has members of the Tate family. We all know how hard some of them work at accomplishing spreading the good news by sowing love and kindness. Sadly, we also realize the tremendous amount of harm others can cause by being petty, negative, and divisive. How well we build up each other will depend upon which members of the Tate family we decide to be. Okay, that's it. I'm done.